The Synopsis engine lets you take your logline and turn it into an outline for a movie by asking 4 simple questions over and over again. First, who is your main character? This is asked repeatedly because your character changes, or should change, as the movie progresses. The second question is what do they do or witness or what happens to them to set your movie in motion? What they start to do because of it is the third question. And the fourth question is what goes wrong or what do they discover that complicates the plot further. To take the example of Thelma and Louise, at the beginning of the movie they're a bored housewife and waitress. What they do is to go on a weekend getaway. What they do because of it is to start to behave differently than they normally do. They go out, they have a drink, they go dancing all night, they start to behave the way they did before they had responsibilities, just trying to have a good time. This brings us to the fourth question, what goes wrong? And what goes wrong is that one of them almost gets raped and the other one shoots the guy. Therefore, at the beginning of the second act, they're no longer just a bored housewife and waitress. They're a couple of women with a big problem and have to figure out what to do about it. What they decide to do is to run away. They start to drive to Mexico. What goes wrong is they have no money. And here we get to the midpoint of the film. At the beginning of the second act, there are a couple of women on the run from the police. What they do to solve their money problem is Louise calls her boyfriend and tells him to get some money and bring it to them. What also happens is they meet a cute hitchhiker named Brad Pitt along the way. So they're at this motel and they have to stay there until her boyfriend arrives with the money. So it's a bit of a quiet period. What goes wrong is that the boyfriend shows up with the money, but the hitchhiker steals it. At the beginning of Act 3, the character arc has moved along so that there are now 2 fugitives without any money or options. Thelma holds up a convenience store to try to get some money, and also the cops find out where they are. The answer to question 3, what they start to do because of this, is to make a run for the border. And what goes wrong is they get chased by the cops to the edge of the Grand Canyon. The whole movie has been a setup for this final problem, otherwise known as the big finish. A strong climax is always caused by something the main character does, rather than by a secondary character or something that happens over which they have no control. In Thelma and Louise, they decide to go over a cliff, rather than submit to what they perceive as imperfect justice for women, which you'll have to admit is a pretty strong finish. Show Me My Outline takes you to a page that contains all the information you've put into this page. On these pages we use familiar terms such as inciting incident, midpoint, act breaks, pinch, and climax. Copy and paste the contents into your word processor for further development. The next part of the Internet Movie Logline Creator we'll talk about is the story gears, an optional exercise to help you beef up the story.